Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons as well. I think they've been playing a lot more motivated football under their interim head coach. I don't know if that factors into the numbers of why they're favored, but it feels good in my book with the Lions. It's kind of going in the opposite direction. So we'll see what happens there. All right, next up, we have the Bills at the Jets. The Bills are favored by 10 in this one. Big favor. Cynthia said earlier in the week that the model said that at least 22 points will be scored in the first half. I think they will all be the Bills because I am not a fan of the trajectory of the Jets, and that's why I am picking them. What do you got for me, Cynthia?
Well, speaking of trajectory, people who go to Duke usually have a good trajectory in life. Unfortunately, Jamison Crowder, who went to Duke, probably not playing in this one. That is a big L for that team. Now, Sam Darnold, Mekhi Becton, they're probably getting them back again. The injury report's coming out any second now. I still have 28-17 in this one, which is 11 points. But me mindful, if there's no Jamison Crowder, yeek, not good. Greg?
Oof. I have the Bills winning. I have them winning comfortably by about 15 points. But Sam Darnold returning to this game, and Becton, and they actually get Denzel Mims back, it sounds like, for the first time, I believe, in the regular season, or at least in a while. Baylor kid I liked coming out in this draft. So I don't know. They played the Bills close. There's a lot of Bills injuries, a little bit to worry about. Let's take a little bit of a break after we see some, high fashion. Oh, yeah. That's Aaron Jones in a sombrero. I mean, he's got to be playing if he's wearing a sombrero, right?
I mean,
that screams it's game time.
It screams something.
I mean, we don't officially know, but how you got to wear a sombrero if you're going to be inactive? You can't do it.
I mean, you gotta maybe he's now like he's razzing the other team in psychological warfare. If anyone knows what movie that's from, like, please, you're my new best friend. There he is.
Back on Game Day View, it's time for Drive to Excellence, presented by Mercedes-Benz. Cynthia extended her lead in Week 6 by going 10-4, while Hawk and Greg were 8-6. But good news, guys, we're into the bye weeks now, meaning fewer games for you to get wrong. That was Drive to Excellence, presented by Mercedes-Benz.
Ooh, it hurts when you say it out loud, Ricky. All right, we got Bucks at the Raiders. The Bucks are favored in this one by 5. We're going to get right to picks here, and I'm going with the Bucks. I think the Raiders have, some injury and roster issues at the offensive line, and the Bucks have been pressuring the quarterback at a high rate this year, and that defense as a whole is playing well. And I think last year they proved to the league after the way they handled the Packers, they are legit Super Bowl contenders. Not to say the Raiders aren't, but I just give them the edge in this one. What do you got for me, Cynthia?
Well, this one has changed since Thursday because we learned that 4 of the 5 O linemen are playing, which turns out makes a pretty big difference. So that's why the margin in this one is really interesting to me. I have a 2-point and only 2-point win for the Bucks. Why? Because that guy, Henry Ruggs, is a problem. You got to look and see, okay, what could potentially happen? We already know that the Bucks defense is really, really good against the run. So now you're going to have to go, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to pass the ball. And Henry Ruggs has been burning even the best defenses. So this high risk, high reward, Gruden, revenge, all these different narratives, what they lead to is the fact that Ruggs is really fast. What do you have, Greg?
You're making me a little nervous because I have the Bucks winning by a touchdown, and this is one of my favorite picks of the week, favorite picks of the year. I feel good. I feel like I want anyone to take the Raiders today because I believe in the Bucks as a Super Bowl type of team. I believe in Carlton Davis as a shutdown cornerback. Yes, Cynthia, you want to jump in?
I do. Will you wear should we have a sombrero situation going on here? Like if you know the Raiders keep it close, then you wear the sombrero, and if the Bucks keep it not close, then
I feel good enough about it. If you want to go buy a sombrero and wear it next week, be my guest.
Perfect.
Go for it. All right. I don't feel nearly as good about this next game. It's the 49ers and the Patriots. I think it's going to be fun to watch, and the Patriots are favored by 3. I don't feel that comfortable that the Patriots are going to win. I picked them because I want it to happen. I don't want to see Belichick fall to 2-4. I do worry about the 49ers running game against this Patriots run defense. It should be a fun one. It just feels like one that's going to come down to the final few minutes. What do you think, Cynthia?
You are talking about JaMycal Hasty, who has one of my favorite names, Hasty. He's a hasty runner. There's just so many things you can do with that. That's an interesting one for fantasy purposes and a great one to slide in because 49ers running backs, that's like a thing, and you should always put them in. I'm curious to see if Jimmy Garoppolo can keep it clean. He's been inconsistent this year. There's no two ways about it. And that's going to be a problem when not only does the best defensive mind maybe ever have your number and knows you super well. So that's going to be interesting. Can Jimmy G and Kyle Shanahan, can they kind of figure it out given that Bill Belichick, that scouting report has them set? I have a 3-point win projected, which is kind of what was expected. But if you look to see when you do the math on it, it's actually a bit closer. So me and Greg and I are pretty much on the same side. Hawk, are you agreeing with us?
Yeah. I'm agreeing. I'm going with the Patriots as well. When I look at these ones, similar to last week when the 49ers played the Rams, I really look at the coaching matchup, right? And I feel like Belichick not only has Kyle's number from time to time, but he also will have Jimmy G's number in his preparation. I want to see if Cam can throw the ball down the field a little bit more to give that offense a little bit of breathing room and threat beyond just running the football and throwing some of those intermediate passes. So for that reason, I am going with the Patriots. All right, next up, we got the Chiefs at the Broncos. The Chiefs are favored by 7.5. We're getting the reports that there is snow already coming down. So look for a lot of run game from the Chiefs, who I am picking and who showed and flexed that muscle a week ago. I think it continues this week to try to get a little bit of pressure off of Mahomes' arm, especially through the weather. What do you got for me, Cynthia?
I'm totally in line with you. I have 30-20, a 10-point win for the Chiefs in the snow. I think the interesting part about this is Tyreek Hill. It kind of seems like a contrarian pick in terms of like, deep passing, really run fast, and it's so snowy and cold and whatever. But you know what? They're used to that in Arrowhead too. It's not like you're getting Miami coming in here and they're not used to being in the cold. So this is a situation where a Tyreek Hill, who didn't score a touchdown for the first game in this whole season last week, I think Tyreek Hill, he's like, hey, I would like the touchdowns, please. The touchdowns need to come to me. Thank you. I think he's very polite too.
Right. See, I have the Broncos winning. I mean, the Chiefs winning, rather, by 3 points. But I think the Broncos are going to keep it close. I really like their offense. They're getting more explosive. They get Melvin Gordon back. They're expected to get Noah Fant back. They have KJ Hamler back. And their defense is really solid. The snow freaks me out a little bit because I've seen Patrick Mahomes do some crazy things in the snow. He's just he is snow proof. And it often favors the offense. There's a level of snow where it becomes tough to play. But, for the most part, the snow helps the offense, helps a lot of long runs. So I think it could be a high-scoring game. Jaguars and the Chargers. We're not going to see any snow in Los Angeles. Indoors, Chargers favored by 7.5. I have the Chargers winning by 6. They get Melvin Ingram back, which is big. They're expected to get Justin Jones back, their defensive tackle. That's big too. So they're healthier coming out of their bye. Brian Bulaga, their right tackle. They got to feel good, but I just don't trust them to win in a blowout because Anthony Lynn, he likes to play it close to the vest, and that invites close games by the end. Even if they have a big lead, I could see them giving it up. What do you think, Cynthia?
I have a 9-point win for the Chargers in this one. Why? Because of that running situation with, what we've seen Anthony Lynn do and his propensity to do it. He was a running back, so he wants all those running backs to work. What I'm looking from wow, I'm like trying to say Justin Herbert, and I was about to say like Justin Yerbert, and that's his new name. So for me in this one, he is my fantasy pick in daily formats. If you need a fantasy quarterback, this is the one to go get. You mentioned all of those healthier players. I love Hunter Henry in this matchup. I love Keenan Allen in this matchup. Just go put in the Chargers offense. They are snowproof because they're inside, just like you said. And I love Justin Herbert in this matchup.
Yep, going with the Chargers as well. Love Justin Herbert, and be on the lookout because the Minshew era is very close to coming to a close in Jacksonville. I know.
Listen, Mike Glennon. You talk about a backup. Mike Glennon, huh?
The Mike Glennon, the gift that keeps on giving. Glennon, perfect segue to our next game. We got the Seahawks at the Cardinals. Seahawks favored in this one by 3.5. I am going with the Seahawks. The matchup I'm looking at is Russell Wilson versus own defense. Can he continue to do enough to make up for some of the woes in the passing game, specifically on the back end of that defense, who hasn't played terrible but hasn't played great? I think Russ can, and for that reason, I think they come away with the win. What do you got for me, Sin?
I have a 3-point win in this one for the Seahawks. Both quarterbacks, there's lots of comparisons between both of these quarterbacks, but one that they've both done at least 10% or more of this season is attempt and complete go routes. Go routes are a really big thing where they're both top 10 in the league in terms of number of touchdowns, completion percentage, passer rating, all of these things. So the edge in this one, I'm interested to see Kyler Murray against that Seahawks defense. Can they have something to stop him? So the margin in this one means Kyler Murray keeps it closer. That's why it's one of my finest, because it's only a field goal. It's not going to be a blowout. This is going to be a really fun one. I'm so glad they put it in Sunday night. And by the way, could there be any more different quarterbacks than Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray? They're the same. Mike Glennon couldn't be more different.
Yeah, I think they're the same, but Kyler's kind of like that early career Russell where he's not as comfortable as a pocket passer. That's why I have the Seahawks winning 34-27. Kyler Murray scrambling, you can't stop it. And so you can score 27 points against Seattle. But I don't think you can win week after week with that being like your best offensive play. And Seattle has so many different options that they can do on offense. I like them to win by a touchdown. Finally, the game of the week. It's the Bears. It's the Rams. It's the Rams favored by 6. I have the Rams winning by 3. But I tell you what, this is one of my – if I had a finest, I'm putting it right here. In the margin in this one, I think it'll be a close game. The Bears could win it. No one would be surprised if they do because their defense, especially in the secondary, all throughout, Fuller, Eddie Jackson, Jalen Johnson, they're all playing really well. And so I think it'll be a defensive type of game, close score at the end.
I couldn't agree with you more. I had the exact same score. That is Greg's greatest into Freeland's finest because we have the exact same score on this one. I'm really interested to see the pressure between both pressure cookers. That is Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack. And by the way, Akeem Hicks has been really good as well and doesn't get enough shine. So we're going to talk about him in this show because we know interior pressure is a really big deal. I'm interested to see, is Allen Robinson going to be able to kind of overcome the Jalen Ramsey factor? Model is not super high on that happening. Interesting to me also to see, all right, what does Nick Foles do when that pressure is coming right up the gut? No James Daniels, that is a problem, no different left guard situation. So David Montgomery probably be used more than maybe before, right? So it's a Greg's greatest, Freeland finest. Is it also Hawks hottest?
Didn't meet the Hawks hottest criteria, but I do think we'll get a lot of answers to the question about this Bears football team. I am picking the Rams, and every time that we all pick together, it puts us on meme alert because all the fans like to screenshot it and put it in that week and talk mess on the internet. So be on the lookout for that. But I do think it's incredibly cool that when you look at these two teams, you're used to seeing a quarterback versus quarterback matchup, and it's two defensive players who are actually the face of these two franchises, Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald. I think the Rams get the better of the two. All right, next up, we're going to break. So we'll be back in a little bit.
Ooh,
check out the red rifle.
Look at all the different looks of Andy Dalton. It's like, how many different Andy Dalton looks can we get in one?
There's no show out there with more Dalton than us. Like, for all your Dalton content, come to Game Day View.
That's right.
All right, we've got some bad breaking news for you on Game Day View. Aaron Jones of the Packers is out today, inactive against the Texans, so that sombrero wasn't enough to get him healthy. They're going to have to roll with Jamal Williams and A.J. Dillon. Cynthia, as you mentioned before, I'm not that worried about their running game. I think they will be fine against a pretty poor Houston defense, but get them out of your fantasy lineups, everyone. Aaron Jones is out.
A game that you need to have a lot of fantasy situations going on in is going to be found in more or less. So all of the games with the more, you want to put all of the fantasy teams in. Got it? Okay, first game, more or less. Steelers and Titans. More or less than 51.51 points in this one. 51.
Two offensive teams, two great quarterbacks. Not worried about this one. Way over.
That is exactly the number that I have in this one. I think it's going to be a really good opportunity. Derrick Henry, a lot of rushing yards. A.J. Brown, a lot of rushing yards. Put in those receivers. Just be mindful. And, of course, James Conner as well. Just be mindful in this one that you want to keep it really close. So maybe more points could be on the horizon, if that makes sense. All right. More or less than 50 points in Panthers at Saints. More or less. More or less?
I'm going less. No Michael Thomas, no Emmanuel Sanders. They're going to be keen on Alvin Kamara. Where are the points coming from? Close game, but I don't think it's going to be a high score.
Well, with where the points are coming from, Carolina also is going to score some points. So that's where I have it. Pretty interesting game here. I have a 7-point win for New Orleans, 31-23. That's 54 points. I definitely think we have some tricks in store. Maybe some Taysom Hill situations, maybe some Traquan Smith. But honestly, it comes down to the fact that the Panthers are going to be able to put up some points. Okay, next game. Packers at Texans. So this is the one. No Aaron Jones. We repeat, no Aaron Jones. Get him out of your fantasy lineup. More or less than 57 points. What do we have here?
Wow, that is high. That is high. But you know what? Team Moore, hashtag Team Moore. You know, we don't get worried about one little injury to Aaron Jones. We look at the quarterback. Look at this man, Deshaun Watson. People haven't been noticing how well he's been playing. These are like 2 of the top 5 quarterbacks in the entire NFL going at it today.
I think 28-24 in this one. I think that's 52. That is less than 57 points. 57 is just a little too rich for my blood. Okay, next up. Cowboys at Washington in the cold, chilly, yucky, like my least favorite weather possible. More or less than 45 points, though. 45.
I'm going less. I think I love my boy Andy Dalton. Didn't feel super encouraged about last week. I haven't felt encouraged about the Washington football team's offense either. So, again, Cowboys get the win, but definitely less than 45 points.
All right, well, I'm with you. I think it's interesting. I think 50 points is about right in this one. I think 45 is just a little bit too low, but I'm with you about the Cowboys in that. Okay, so we've got one last segment. You must stick around for it, so we're going to be right back.
Oh, no, we're not going to be back. We'll see you next week.
That's it.
Cynthia wants to just stay and hang out with us, but I think
I thought we were doing one more. I thought we had one more.
I know you like spending time with us, but we gotta go. We got kids to take care of.
Fine. One more. No, we want to be one more timelines. Whatever.